day before yesterday is the first time that I ever welded. Ever. And I made this welding table. Now, you try and make a welding table if you don't have a welding table to make it on. It's awkward, I can tell you. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to make should be a lot easier, and that'll be a welding cart. And then I don't need to use this makeshift thing that I've got here. And this welder, I call it the Woodworker's Welder. It's, well, I'll show it to you. It's pretty easy to use. Now, what I did find difficult is, in 3 weeks I'll be 70. And I think that I am unable to see detail in dark areas because, yes, I could see the arc, but I couldn't see the detail in the dark areas, like the puddle and so on. So a couple of times I kind of went off the joint a little bit, but for the most part, you know, it's holding together. It's not that stack of dimes that the pros do, but it's holding together, and I think it's probably 50% as strong. Anyway, let me show you this welder. I think some of you woodworkers will get a kick out of it. It really is a woodworker's welder. Now, before we get going on the welder, in case you're wondering what this is, well, the other end of this hose is hooked up to a very high volume fan. It's actually a furnace fan, and it's mounted in one of the windows. And it is so efficient that if I forget to open another window in the house, you're soon warned, because there'll be a lot of whistling and howling as the air rushes in through all the cracks in the house. So I know there's people thinking, well, you can't weld in a small enclosed area. Well, yes, you can if it's well ventilated. And it's well ventilated. And yeah, I took extra precaution too that sparks aren't going to go flying into any sawdust piles or anything like that. This isn't in the same area, by the way, as I do my woodworking. This is what I refer to as my metals room. Or I guess you could call it the machine shop. Anyway, let's look at this welder here and why it's for a woodworker. And okay, now that's the ground. I'm sure you know that. Here's the torch. Now I know that there is a chart here that you can go by, and I could have figured it out from the chart. But, oh, by the way, I just put this on. I almost finished my welding table with this little sample roll that the machine came with. And this was 25 thousandths diameter wire. And what I've got on here right now is 35 thousand. It turns out that this 1/8 inch steel is actually 10 gauge. And I didn't realize that I was doing most of my welding with a wire that wasn't exactly recommended, although the machine did adjust for it. But anyway, let me show you what's unique about this machine. I'm not going to show you how to weld because I don't know how. And, well, I kind of know now. Anyway, on the back on the other side that you can't see is a tank, and it's got shielding gas in it. And so I would turn the tank on. It's turned off right now. Now there's a little computer inside here. Takes a while for it to get going. Okay, there you can probably hear the thing's running. But what's really unique about this is, let's assume, well, right now it's all set up for this wire, but let's assume you're going to start right from the beginning. It asks you what kind of steel you're using. I'm assuming that I'm using this steel. I'm just assuming that's the right one. So what you would do then is you can adjust everything and then select. Okay. Now it tells you to place your ground in the positive side, which I did. Okay. So you go okay. Takes you to the next one. Okay. I'm using 35,000. Okay. Now it asks me what gauge I'm using. Well, like I mentioned, 1/8 inch steel, I believe, is 10 gauge. So I would set this to 10. Now it sets everything for you. Now it just sets it to the average. those people that know what they're doing can tell by the sound of the weld whether you need a little bit more or less voltage or a little bit faster or slower wire speed. I don't know. I just leave it as it is and it's working. So it's pretty well foolproof. And actually I could weld right now if I was to have my gas turned on, and if I was to have my wire, if I was to pull that trigger right now, it would arc and probably ruin my camera, so I'm not going to do it. Anyway, the next thing is the welding cart. I know this doesn't have a whole lot to do with the chair. Well, in a way it does, because if I don't get this done, I can't really do the chair. Now, there is something I want to correct, and that is I made a mistake. I told you that I put the ground onto the positive side when it said connected to the positive. It's actually the torch that went to the positive side, and then automatically the ground would go to the negative because that's the only other place you can plug it in. Just wanted to correct that just in case there were some guys that know how to weld were watching and thought I made a mistake, which I did, I guess. But I do know the difference. Sorta. Now, it's kind of interesting. I've had this welder sitting in the box, brand new, for almost a year now. And finally got it out of the box. But you know what I think it was? I think I was scared. I think I was scared that maybe the helmet wouldn't work and the arc would flash in my eyes, and a lot of unknowns. It probably would have helped had I taken a course or maybe had a real welder standing beside me. When I did this the day before yesterday, I was here all by myself and I was sort of bumbling through it. And maybe if you see these spot welds here, you're thinking, yeah, you're bumbling all right. Anyway, just thought I should mention that. This is completely out of my realm. Woodworking, I've done it, since I was a teenager, but this is something new. I knew that if I didn't actually get at it, I never would do it, and I'd probably be sitting in the old folks' home thinking I've always wanted to weld and never did it. Well, I took on that chair series about a week ago, cut up all the parts. Now I'm forced to use the welder, and I'm glad I did. It's kind of fun. Woodworking is going to be my first love, I know that, but anyway, enough rambling here. Probably be a couple of days pause here while I'm making the welding cart, and then we'll get at the chair. See if I can do a better job on the welding the chair parts together than I did on this welding table. But boy, is this thing solid and heavy. I'm surprised at how heavy this is. I should weigh it. I'm going to guess 75 pounds.